Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Baseball Podcast. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and with me today to run our first official mock draft for baseball for 2022 is Bogman and the Welsh. That's right, your friends and mine, right here on Fantasy Pros. They're going to help me go through our first draft simulator experience, so hopefully you are ready, locked and loaded, and turning your attention over to baseball. And today we're going to be using that 2022 MLB Draft Wizard software, which is officially open now. It's the perfect time to start preparing for your baseball drafts for this upcoming season. And the multi-user draft software tool is the best in the business. You can draft with your friends and the computer at the same time. It's unbelievable. Get you prepared, get you prepped and ready for draft season, and feel free to start practicing and using our mock draft simulator, which you can find at fantasypros.com/draftwizard. Again, that's fantasypros.com/draftwizard. It's a fun way to spend about 10 minutes and you can go through an entire draft. Remember, you can set your player settings. You can set all of the different options in terms of league type styles. It doesn't matter what format you play. The Draft Wizard is prepared for all of them, which is really spectacular. And that's going to get you ready for all of your leagues that you've got drafting soon. But gentlemen, we are here. It's a new season. It's a new sport. It's a new year. And I'm very excited to have you. Welsh, welcome to the program. I see you're joining us live from the Beat Laboratory today. So we're very excited to have you here on our YouTube channel.
100%. I've got the board here. So if anybody's got any requests, shout out to Mac Miller. It's his 30, would have been his 30th birthday. But yeah, we're in the Beat Laboratory, the Welsh Beat Laboratory today to do some mock drafting. I'm pretty excited. Actually, I like this Draft Wizard. It's a completely different scope. And, you kind of alluded, and we talked off air at least, that Bogman and I within this league, we have been doing live drafts since 2014. That's kind of a staple of what we do. And we do them all over, a host of different sites. And this is pretty cool with how the consensus experts are going to suggest picks to you. And it's it looks at least, one of the more intuitive auto draft systems, since we're not drafting with all live people. It's just the three knuckleheads. It's just these three stooges. So I'm looking forward to it.
The other live person is Scott Bogman here, who looks like he is actually the rapper in studio, who is being recorded by Bogman. And this is why you watch on the YouTube channel. Number one, you can follow along the draft board for yourself, and you can make fun of the picks that we make and say that we get things right or wrong or whatever it is. But also, so you can see the sick beats. That
Turn the bass up a little bit.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. We're going up.
Yeah, this is, Welsh and I work in the underground lab where Tupac actually drops all his new stuff.
Nah.
He comes from an undisclosed location, comes to our office, and we get those new songs out. So, no, I'm excited to do this too. I mean, the Draft Wizard looks awesome. I was able to, add more players here too, so I can get a bunch to pick from when it's my turn up. So I'm excited to do a mock draft, and this is our first redraft mock of 2022, I believe, because we did one maybe in November, but we haven't done one this year yet because our first one was a dynasty one. So I am ready to try it. Let's go.
And to check out those boys' work, make sure you head over to inthisleague.com, and you can check them out on Patreon at ITL and join the ITL army there. And as Boggs was saying, we're going to keep it simple for this first one. So it's your regular old 5x5. We're going to have one catcher because 2 catcher leagues are dead to me. Everybody knows that. We're going to have the full infield, the corner, and the middle infield spots. We're going to have 5 active outfielders. We're going to have 1 utility, 9 pitcher slots. We're going to have 2 of them be mandatory RP slots, 1 utility hitter, and 6 benches. That's what we're doing today. So we're going to keep it pretty simple. We're going to keep it locked and loaded and moving. And with that being said, I am going to officially start the draft. And as you can see, we've already had a few picks go off the board. I'm going to be picking third here. So Trey Turner, Fernando Tatis go off the board.
Trey Turner been consensus number 1, by the way. I just want to throw out. It's very interesting to me. I get the points of it, obviously, because if you stretch it out, but he has become consensus number 1 in almost everything that I've seen. And against Tatis and even against Soto, it's kind of wild that we're in that space, because I feel like Turner's been in the first round for every single year. And I feel like everybody wants to talk themselves out of it, Joe. But 2022, it's a year of Trey Turner.
It is, but he's not my 1-1. No, 1-1. That's who it is. Juan Soto for me. Tatis does go 2. If Tatis was there, I probably would have taken him. But I'm perfectly happy taking my boy Juan Soto. As everybody knows, I'm president of the Juan Soto fan club. So he goes to me first, which is great. After that, Garrett Cole goes 4. Bo Bichette goes 5. Christopher Welsh with the 6th pick is now on the clock?
Christopher.
Joseph and Scottiff. Scottrick, yeah, Scottrick, Bogman. I look at this and it's interesting. The consensus experts are 67% on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The one thing that's holding me back, and I will say I'm very tempted to do, is, and I do have Vladimir Guerrero ahead just because it's elite batting average, elite. I mean, it's 4 elite categories when I'm dumping out one. But Jose Ramirez is a really, really, really enticing guy at that 6th spot. I've actually got him at 5. So this just enabled me. I'm actually shocked that Bo Bichette went before both those guys in this, that this dropped 2 of my players that are inside of my top 5. I want to take Ramirez, but I'm going to take absolute consensus top elite 4 categories, and I'll make up my stolen bases later with Vladdy.
Yeah, look, you're dropping 25 stolen bases, but I would do the same thing, man. I would take Vlad.
It's easy.
So after Vlad goes, Jose Ramirez then goes right after, as we anticipated, Corbin Burns, Ronald Acuna at 1-9, Mike Trout at 1-10. Then at the 11th spot, Bryce Harper, which means Scottrick Bogman, everyone's favorite character from The Witcher, is now up for 2 here at the turn at the 12th spot.
Look, I do have to ask a question, Joe. Ohtani in this format, are we getting both sides? Are we getting pitcher and hitter? Because if that's the case, then I will be taking Ohtani.
According to the way this is set up, that is my assumption here.
So that he's an individual player.
He's an individual player because it says SP/DH next to him. So yes. So in which case you can make a case for him even at the 1-1 spot in that.
Right. And so I will go ahead and take Shohei Ohtani here.
Oh, maybe I got confused. I thought you meant you got, because you just took the pitcher side. So is it both, or is it just the pitcher you took?
Well, it said pitcher and DH on his name.
So I believe it is. So I don't see him available anymore. So therefore, I do believe that to be true. And you know what? And a bigger note here, we'll discuss this in a second. I think that's how it should be across the board. He is not 2 separate people. No, he's not, even though he might be a Gemini. I don't know what his astrological sign is. He is one person. So if he pitches and hits, he pitches and hits for the Angels. He pitches and hits for your fantasy team. I think the separation is dumb. Chris Welsh, your thoughts on that while Bogman thinks about it?
I mean, it has been one of the most outspoken things I've had for a couple years now, because there's one very specific big platform that just still refuses to make the adjustment, and they claim it's engineering and money. He's maybe the biggest name in fantasy baseball. Get it fixed. And so many sites had it fixed before. To not have him as one singular player,
that's fine. Having him separate is fine, but daily you gotta have him both.
None of it's fine. Any site that does not have him as a 2-way player is being lazy. That's all there is to it in 2022. What'd you do, Boggs?
I took Mookie. I didn't want to take the Dodger. I was debating between him and Freddie at this point, but I'm just going to take some stolen base upside. There's a lot of good first basemen too. So I'll go ahead and start out with Ohtani and Mookie on the wheel.
Not bad. And it's funny, you're getting Mookie Betts, a player, consensus top 5 player of the last 2 years. You're getting him all the way at the turn at 2-1. Walker Buehler goes at 2-2. Then Freddie Freeman next. Jacob deGrom, Ozzie Albies. Luis Robert at 206. The Welsh, you are up next, my friend.
The Joe. I kind of wanted Luis Robert there.
I know you did.
Some good picks here, though.
That dang old Team 7 sniped me right before, because I was going to go for that high batting average. Something I'm trying to kind of rectify that I was really bad about last year was I was very much into this, like, I'm going to kind of punt average and kind of, collect my counting stats. And it went kind of sideways for me. So I want to make sure I'm not going too crazy on that. But there are 2 fantastic picks I'm staring at. Kyle Tucker kind of represents that Luis Robert range, and I have him there. But looking at Max Scherzer, and Scherzer is still out there to get one of those elite pitchers. I'm not crazy into high-end pitching, but to get him kind of on the back end of the 2nd round, especially knowing I want to attack some stolen bases, I'm going to do that. And 50% of the experts agree that I should go with Max. So I'm going to do it.
All right. So locking it in there. I'm glad you took him so I didn't have to make that decision myself, because I really didn't want to, because I would have been tempted as well to do the same. So Devers goes next, then Marte. Back up to me. I started with the Juan. So Juan Soto's on my team next. Now it's about looking at continuing the overall hitting for me, because as much as I'd love to get a pitcher, it's just a matter right now of building offense. I have so little faith in those elite starting pitchers at this point in terms of health. Sure. So for me, I'm going to pivot to another one of the classic Joe guys, Wander Franco. Been driving this bus for a while now. And, I think this is appropriate. I really do. I think you are just scratching the surface. And I think for an organization like the Rays to get their checkbook out and write an 11-year extension for a player tells you all you need to know about this player. So I just think we're just scratching the surface of how good this player can be. So yeah, maybe I could have waited a little bit for him, but you know what? He was pretty much in that top 5 group I was looking at anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and take him. Starting my team, Wander Franco and Juan Soto. We'll see where it goes from there. Zach Wheeler at the turn also goes. So Woodruff and Wheeler back to back. Then Shane Bieber, a little pitching run. Kyle Tucker then went. So now it is back to me. And once again, the board is mine. So I can go with the big time power and the Jordan Alvarez kind of player. I can look around to Aaron Judge as well, continue to pound that that outfield sort of situation there with the 5 active outfielders. Very tempted here, boys. Very tempted. Bogman, since you're nowhere near this pick, is this the time in the draft for you in the 3rd round where you start looking at that pitching, or are you instead continuing to load up on hitting and wait?
I think in this particular spot, I would probably take a hitter because there's so many good ones here. But
a couple really pitchers on the board. I look at Urias and Robbie Ray right there, and I think that's enticing. But there are great hitters, like you guys said.
And like the draft wizard chose top lift, and I believe for you it's going to be Julio Urias. So that
3 seconds,
just to help you out there. So
I'm going to try something that I don't usually do here. I've been doing a bunch of wizards here, a bunch of draft wizard drafts last few days, and I've been waiting on the pitching. This time I'm going to take one, see what happens. Tim Anderson went next. Aaron Judge went after that. Welsh, it's to you. I took it because I felt like I wanted to see what kind of groups make it back to me there. Maybe this is the guy, and then I can lock in 2 more hitters and wait. We shall see how it all unfolds. So after Anderson and Judge, Welsh, you were on the clock for 306.
Man, I want to Judge. That was
my other pick. I was going back and forth. It was a very tough decision.
Yeah, sniped again right in front of me. I want to Judge. It's crazy too because I've got a couple guys much higher on my ranks that are still available on the board, but there's a lot of good players that are available right now. It's interesting that they're allowing Vladimir Guerrero 3rd base eligibility, which could kind of maybe change some of his slide. The experts say Manny Machado. That's the top guy I have. I still haven't covered speed, though, which is kind of getting me. And I've missed out on a few guys.
There's not a lot of speed out there, Welsh, in all fairness.
Well, but see, the problem is the speed that is out there is kind of enticing. There's 2 guys, and Bogman might double tap them, to be honest with you. Whit Merrifield and Cedric Mullins that I'm looking at. Experts don't really care about them. And then Marcus Semien is still sitting out there who qualifies at 2nd, and that's not the best position. But 3rd base is not great this year, and I'm going to shore up Manny Machado, and I'm going to get my 3rd and 1st, Manny Machado, Vladimir Guerrero to go with Max Scherzer, which I feel pretty good about.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that as well if I were you. So after you get that selection by the Welsh, taking Machado, a safe, strong pick there, you would imagine. Then you get Jordan Alvarez at 307, Marcus Semien at 8, Cedric Mullins, a player I loved. I didn't think he was going to make it back to me, and alas, he did not. Lindor at 10, Sal Perez at 11, and Scott Bogman on the clock for the double dip at 3-4.
I was sweating because Welsh mentioned the exact player I want in the spot. I want Witt pretty bad here. And I'm going to pair him with Shohei, and now I got a ton of stolen bases on the squad. So I really like that. And for my next trick, I'm going to take Robbie Ray and get my kind of 2nd starting pitcher because I do have Ohtani, and, he'll throw some, but obviously he's not your number 1 starter. He's more like a 3 or 4 for your fantasy team. So I love this start that I'm going to have with Cool Whit and Robbie Ray for the very next pick here.
It's a real look. Robbie Ray is your 1A starter. I think is a fantastic investment. I think that's where you want to have Robbie Ray, not the sole top of your rotation, but that next guy or in conjunction with another 1A. I think that's a perfect way to build it. Whit Merrifield, one of my favorite players, underrated every single year. If he played in Boston or New York, people would talk way more about him. It's just where he plays at the end of the day. After Robbie Ray in the 4th, we kick things off here at 4-2, then with Xander Bogaerts, Matt Olson, Trevor Story, Aaron Nola, and Eloy Jimenez right before. No White Sox will make it to Welsh right before every single time they go off the board.
I know.
Some steals on the board still, if you like Alberto Mondesi, but some other guys out there as well, Welsh, for you to choose from.
Who Welsh is taking.
You know what? Hold on. Bogman knows me well. As I know Bogman, I was looking at Matt Olson, even though I've got the position filled because he's such a monster, but he went. It's a great pick. Other guy I was looking at, Trevor Story because it's a good stolen base marker, though I think the batting average is down. But I want Bogman to tell everybody who I'm about to pick.
Byron Buxton. You're the leader of the Byron Buxton fan club.
I am taking Byron Buxton, who is a 17% by the experts. I'm going to move away from the injury stuff. He was a top first round, top 10 talent when he's out there. The question everybody has is obviously, is he going to stay healthy? I'm going to bank on the side of health. He had major power, getting me stolen bases. Outfield, I got to fill up because I had none. I love that pick, and I'm not sure if he would have fallen back to me. So 17% be danged. Give me Byron Buxton.
Yeah, also 17% the percentage of games Byron Buxton has played.
Yes. Zing zong.
I'll be here all week, folks. Tip your waitress. Teoscar Hernandez goes right after. 4-9 is then Corey Seager, which puts me on the block here for the next pick. And you know what? I'm going to go get some power and some stolen bases. And I'm going to come back around on a player that I was down on last year because I think the draft stock was a little too high. But I kind of like where it is now, and I think I've seen a little bit more where I feel good about Randy Arozarena. So I like the fact that he's a pretty much 5-category contributor. So give me that. Give me the extra outfielder here. After that, Lucas Giolito goes, Alex Bregman, Austin Riley. So boy, oh boy, third base got cleaned out quick as we turned from the 4th round to the 5th.
That's why I took Manny,
man. Yeah, it's a great call there, Welsh. Austin Riley at 5-1, then Tyler O'Neill at 5-2, which puts me back on the clock. And here you go. Now there's some pitchers out here that I like, and this is that grouping. And I still like taking Urias where I did. Alcantara is a really, really big-time pitcher, I think. I just thought that guy was tremendous. My problem is, again, you're a little limited in terms of the wins. I am a giant Freddie Peralta fan. I know the draft wizard will yell at me if I take Freddie Peralta here. That I'm well aware of.
Don't let it tell you what to do.
But
they get pushed around.
But it's a robot, and I thought the robots are all smarter than us.
Hey,
I could also go closer here too. And
listen, in Terminator, if we all just turned over, we would let the robots win. But we're not going to let Skynet take over, Joe. So you be you, or if you want to give in to Skynet, go ahead. That's your call.
I think because I have Urias, I'm going to get double-digit wins there, and I'll take my boy Sandy here, and we'll build a little pitching staff here. We'll get to. We'll see what happens. I'm going to roll the dice to see what happens.
Mock Welsh.
Lance Lynn goes next, then JT Real Muto at 505. Chris Welsh is up now for 506. What, you mad, bro?
I wanted it. I wanted him. I definitely wanted.
Is that what that whole pep talk was about the machines and me?
No, I mean the robots. You still can like move away from the robots. But
if a robot is filling out one of those forms online where it says "Are you a robot?" what does it do? Like because it's filling one out there. It's trying to I don't know.
I don't know.
It can't tell what a bus is. It can't tell what a motorcycle is. Or where a stoplight is. Come on.
It's true. It's true. All right, Welsh, you are up on the clock here. What are you doing?
I'm not in love with everything that I'm checking out here. I mean, there's good players. There's solid players. But I'm not in love with anything. Sandy, I really wanted Tyler O'Neill or Sandy Alcantara, and
there was that run there at the top too, where I thought maybe Bregman or Riley, I would get one of them, but they went back to back. That was frustrating. The wizard did it to us again.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in. This is a tough one, especially when you're thinking about.
And this is why I like the wizard, because when you're doing a lot of other draft softwares, it doesn't make adjustments as well as the draft wizard does. So it's a real challenge. Like this is a real board, like real people are drafting here, which is I think way better than what
I was battling something in my head there. And there's two things I went between. I took Jack Flaherty. The battle was I was about to take Chris Sale because I think the upside, I think a lot of the projections are a little bit low on where he is as a pitcher right now, especially innings pitched, and he's a huge strikeout monster, wins. But I had this thought that rolled through me is that I took Max, and I've already taken an old pitcher that's, he's not breaking down or anything like that, but there's some inherent risk in it that I just decided I wanted to move away from a low projected innings guy with high strikeouts because I've already got Max into a little bit more of a floor player in Jack Flaherty, though I don't necessarily, I'm not in love or anything like that with him. But that was the decision-making between those two. All right, Boggs, you're up.
After Flaherty, you get Nick Castellanos, then Paul Goldschmidt, Javier Baez, the newest Detroit Tiger, then JD Martinez at 5'10", 5'11", Jose Altuve. Scott Bogman is now up at the 5'6" turn.
I'm going to go ahead and take a closer.
I knew you were.
I knew you were going to do this.
I mean, you guys know me. So
you're going to double tap it.
I thought he was going to double tap
I
it.
thought about it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I'm going to take Hendricks for 1. And then my second pick, I am definitely debating here. Let me see.
So Hendricks is your 1 on the board in terms of closers box.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm still hated. The interesting thing about this, though, in this experiment, I would say, especially if you look at if people are looking at NFBC stuff, there's no chance that these guys are available in the 5th with how things are going. Now, I think in a lot of the stuff we're going to be doing, consumer type of stuff, standard 5x5, friends, home leagues and stuff, it will be more like this. But in NFBC stuff, you're seeing these guys go in the 30s right now. So there's no chance Hader or Hendricks would be there.
That's typically true of the elite closers in that format anyway.
I'm also going to stick to my guns here, Joe, and just I can't take Stanton. I can't do it. So I'm going to go ahead.
1 year without you taking Stanton. That's all.
I can't do it anymore.
Well, you took Pete Alonso,
not for me.
Your thoughts on Alonso here in this pick as
massive power at first base. He's still a stud. I know he gets picked on a little bit because the batting average isn't fantastic, but I'm doing okay in batting average with Witt and Mookie. So I'll be okay there. So just give me the massive power.
I think it's a great selection there. Then Chris Sale goes 6'2", Joe Musgrove at 3, Castillo at 4 in this round in the 6th, then Josh Hader right before, and Freddie Peralta. Only a few picks I needed, but alas, it did not happen. Welsh, you are up for 607.
So I've got a guy that I want, but I'm going to see if he comes back to me.
Ooh,
so, excuse me, I'm going to take
roll
a little bit
of
a knee. Yeah, I'm going to roll the bones here, and that's what I like to do in mock drafts sometimes, especially in this one. And I'm not insanely high on this guy, but I definitely have a need. I'm going to go with George Springer, though I'm a little bit worried about taking 2 outfielders with some injury proneness, but there's such a powered offense in Toronto that with that time, Springer, I mean, I don't blame the consensus experts. 51% say to take him here, and we're in the 6th round. It's actually
how many IL spots, Joe?
Never enough. Never enough.
I like risk. I'm going to take some risk. I think Springer is
in the 6th round, that's a good kind of risk to take with George Springer. And a season-long roto, too, if he plays 130 games, you're still good. I mean, George Springer is an elite producer. Edwin Diaz goes after, then Giancarlo Stanton goes next, which puts me up for 610. Adalberto Mondesi is still on the board. Does that surprise you guys?
No, because he's not guaranteed anything. I mean, the team literally ownership came out and said, we can't even count on him for 100 games in a season. They openly said that last year. You've also got Bobby Witt coming up. You've got Nicky Lopez, who's established himself, Witt, who can play second base. There's no guarantees that Adalberto Mondesi is a 160 game type of player anymore. And that's what worries me. And that's why I moved off of him, because I could use some stolen bases. I'm not in dire straits for it, but I could use some. But I think he's risky still.
Yeah, I agree. All right, you mentioned before, Welsh, about not liking third base, and it is very tricky. I'm going to go ahead and play a little safe here. You went for risk in this round before. I'm going to go for a little safety. So give me a little safe Nolan Arenado. Still the power's there.
I was kind of hoping he would fall, but I didn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I just couldn't let it go anymore. I think that's where I was. And I could have taken a little bit more risk there. There's certainly else.
Look at that. The last pick in the 6th round.
Bobby,
Mr. Robert Witt Jr.
Well, let's talk. So Kevin Gossman goes next. That was the other player I was looking at, but there's a few other pitchers that I like. Then Bobby Witt goes at 612, and Carlos Rodon starts the 7. Welsh, you're a prospect guru. So Bobby Witt, is this too high for Bobby Witt, or is this, hey, if you want to get him on your roster, be aggressive?
Listen, I love Bobby Witt. I think he's going to. I think when all the dust settles, I think MLB is going to have agreement where the service time manipulation is gone, and Bobby Witt's going to break camp. I think he'll probably play third base. I'm not the biggest lover of rookies in their first year because I think there's growing pain type of stuff. I do think he can be a 2020 guy, but I think the average can go up and down. I just say people are paying the premium stuff again. And I think it's a little crazy premium because there are some great shortstops that are still on the board. You know, there's still Carlos Correa. I mean, FantasyPros is being very nice about a lot of position eligibility. They've got like Ketel Marte there, which he's not going to qualify in most places. But there's Jorge Polanco and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a reach. I don't particularly love it. But I'm also, I got to tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of like Franco going that high either. We actually just did a player debate about it. But what do you got, Joe?
Well, I'm good with Wander Franco going there. I'm going to take my risk here which is a pitcher that I absolutely love. So we'll get to the rest of these picks here. So after Bobby Witt, who, by the way, if I'm going to throw a comp on Bobby Witt stylistically, especially the way he hits the opposite field, it's very young David Wright for me. That's what he looks like to me.
Yeah.
David Wright was a very polished hitter when he came up to the big leagues. I felt like the same thing's going to happen with Bobby Witt. He's going to contribute from day one. I just think, and you're right. We saw Kelenic. We saw some of these guys come up that were can't miss, and there's always struggles most of the time. Witt feels a little different, a little safer. I mean, Wander Franco didn't miss. He didn't miss hardly anything. Carlos Rodon, 7-1, then Brandon Lau at 7-2. I took Rogers over at 3 in Miami. So I've got 2 guys now, Trevor Rogers and Sandy Alcantara, as my starting pitchers in this. But you know what? If I'm going to have 2 Marlins guys, these are the Marlins I want. I was just blown away by this kid last year, and I think we could see that increased limit to somewhere around the 165 inning pitch range, and he could be a very special pitcher. Logan Webb, then Jazz Chisholm go next right before you at 706, Welsh.
Jazz was the guy. I wanted Jazz.
Oh, really? That was the guy. I thought
that was who I
took
the risk on. No, I wanted Jazz Chisholm coming back really bad. And that
one pick in front of you too. That burns.
It's happened multiple times. I got a couple guys I want here. I'm looking at second base, and there's some depth here.
India is a player that I was looking at before I took Rogers seriously. And
here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to go a buyback. We're going to play buyback on Christian Yelich.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
Which I don't mind.
There's a good question too. Let's talk about Yelich before we go to the rest of the picks in this round, and then Bogman for the 2. If you have a draft that's really gone your way, a 7th round selection on Christian Yelich is absolutely potentially a league winner. And I don't think if it bottoms out, it's going to be a league killer. Would you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, no. And that'd be the same sentiment I have about Cody Bellinger. I was also thinking Cody Bellinger. I couldn't take both of them. I almost took Bellinger there.
So Yelich over Bellinger for you if you're going to take the risk.
I mean, on this roster construction, I think so. I mean, I think one of the biggest worries I have, which I'm a little bit gun shy, which I could have maybe dealt with it a little bit more, was batting average, but also injury-based stuff. I think even though both of these guys are injury-prone, I think Bellinger might be a little bit more of a worry with how much he's tanking, and I just didn't want to take my batting average. So I went with Yelich to take some risks, but also the next couple picks just absolutely murdered everything I was thinking about doing. I almost took Ketel Marte for that second base stuff. So the draft wizard is starting to screw
to whiz on you, basically.
Yeah, it's starting to, yeah.
So after Yelich and Jose Abreu went 7-7, so you took Yelich over one of the safest players, maybe in Major League Baseball, and Jose Abreu. Mondesi then goes 7-8, which again you could feel this is the risk round here. Ketel Marte, then Cody Bellinger goes, Carlos Correa goes, and then Bogman, you are up for 7-12 and 801.
Yeah, I am. My first pick was Max Fried. I just need another starting pitcher to pair with Robbie Ray, and then I have Shohei, who will get me some innings here too. And I'm debating between a second baseman and a third baseman. I'm just going to go ahead and take my second baseman here. I'm going to take Jorge Polanco, get me some batting average, and he showed off the power last year as well. Plus, he'll throw me in some more stolen bases, so I'm continuing to pile that on with Witt and Ohtani. So that is who I'm going to go ahead and take here.
Always been a fan of Polanco. Love the value there. And speaking of value, a lot of it's coming at you in the next round here because Iglesias goes right after. Very nice value there at 802. DJ LeMahieu, after a down year, 803. It feels about right, but
I don't like it.
I don't like it either, Welsh. I'm glad you said it before.
I don't like it at all.
Well, I think it's too early still from what I saw last year.
Well, because I got a guy that I'm dodging. Winker, Montes, and Brios went right after that leading up to me. Brios is someone I was looking at, but I've got my eyes on a couple pitchers. I was sweating when I took Yelich there because the second baseman, the reason I didn't take Marte was Jonathan India was still on the board. And when Bogman said, well, I'm going to take my second baseman, I went, oh, no.
That's who I thought he was going with you. I thought he was going to take India.
And I'm taking Jonathan India, who, if you look at the roster construction just real quick of one thing I've done where you don't get the elite stolen bases, you want to collect them. I've got a collection of multi-stolen base guys of 10 plus. You've got India, you've got Machado, you've got Buxton, you've got Springer, you've got Yelich. I got 5 guys right now that are all having decent average, good power. These are 5 category players. The biggest albatross of batting average right now is probably Christian Yelich, which is wild to think about. And I've got 2 aces. I love this roster construction right now. And the only infield position I haven't filled is shortstop, which is the deepest.
Yeah, it is the deepest, but There's one thing we learn every single year: whatever position looks like the deepest on paper going in, it ends up being the thinnest because of injuries and bad perform. Every single year, it seems to happen
We
to
get too
us.
cocky. We get too
Well,
cocky
we
about
get
the position.
yeah, probably, maybe to a certain extent. So now it's a matter of, do I want to go for saves or do I want to go for steals? And I think I'm going to go for steals. I think I am. I think I'm going to take a guy who's going to qualify pretty much everywhere, and it's Tommy Edmonds. So
Oh, it's a
give
great
me
pick.
Tommy Edmond there, who I can float around. I'm going to stick him at second base. So now
Oh.
the infield right now is Tommy Edmond. It said slight reach there. It gave me the grumpy face emoji. So whatever, draft wizard. Wander Franco, Nolan Arenado, Tommy Edmond make up my infield right now. I feel pretty good about that grouping. After I go ahead and take Tommy Edmond, and by the way, just for the record, India's the guy I wanted. Welsh took him from me. After India went Ryan Mountcastle, another player I was looking at, Brian Reynolds. I took Edmond. Then Nelson Cruz, still a free agent, going 8-11, 8-12. Dylan Cease put up a fine season last year. Then the Franimal went next, 9-1. Jared Walsh went right before me, another guy that I wanted desperately on the roster. I'm a big Jared Walsh guy. Are you a fan of Walsh? I know he hasn't quite put that entire season together, but I feel like this is that last chance we get to buy him off that, Walsh. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like Jared. I think he kind of sits in this category of, where you remember you were talking about Jose Abreu. Oh, you pay up for Jose Abreu. You can get Jared Walsh, which I don't think is that much of a step down, like 2 or 3 rounds later. And he's kind of sitting in that like Reese Hoskins range. I think he's a great corner infield piece, or if you bombed out on first and you're focusing on other spots, he's a great target. I will tell you though, Dylan Cease was the guy that I wanted very badly coming back. So that 8-12 spot really pulled the rug under me, and I got to reestablish what I'm going to do here. What are you doing?
I'm going to take the player who was my favorite sleeper last year at the end of the year, and boy, did he over-deliver. Give me Mitch Haniger here, another outfielder. Yeah, 903 here, so that's my risk pick.
Some thump.
Dude, the boy's got a lot of thump in that bat. And
He
now
does.
Soto, Rosarena, Mitch Haniger, that's the outfield. They got 2 outfield spots left. The corner spots left there to fill out. There's an extra infield spot here. You'll see on that. That is incorrect. So just don't get thrown off by that, guys.
But, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just realized that now in the setup. But look, no matter. We soldier on. Think of it as a utility spot. That's the best way I could say. So 2 utilities. Forget that second infield. It should be a second utility spot. So we'll keep soldiering on. Mitch Haniger, Charlie Morton, Justin Verlander go next. Verlander, interesting selection in the 9th round. Welsh, you think that's the time to take the risk on Verlander? Or would you wait a little bit longer?
No, that was it, because he was on my short list of players that I was looking at. Absolutely. I mean, I wanted Cease, and I was looking at him. I think there's some good young pitchers that are sitting out there that you can jump into, but I'm also looking at the closer market right now. And the ECR definitely wants me to go Aroldis Chapman.
I passed on him. I had the opportunity, and I didn't do it.
But NFBC really loves Emmanuel Clase, and I kind of like Emmanuel Clase. And you got Ryan Presley. Oh, all of them are there.
So does that mean you should wait and not take any of them?
That's an interesting. Yeah, I mean you could, but I'm gonna take Emmanuel Clase. I'm gonna go on that side. I'm gonna
see. That was my logic. My logic was
Chapman
wait,
a little bit,
because I thought, well, I've got 4 or 5 guys here I feel okay about. Let me see if I can play the waiting game with him. So
Presley went after a little bit after here. I know you're going to go through them, so it's the waiting game is getting a little dangerous.
It is. Clase goes, then Blake Snell, Austin Meadows, Chris Bryant at 9-9, Yu Darvish at 9-10. I guarantee you Bogman was contemplating Yu Darvish. 9-11.
I was thinking a little bit.
Just a little bit. And the 9th round, how do you not say, well, you know, all things being equal, I'll take a shot on Yu Darvish over a couple of other guys who've never thrown 100 innings in their career.
Right. So this is a good spot, because I know exactly who I want for one, because I kind of waited on that third baseman, and I was like, all right, I just want one of Bryant or Rendon to fall to me. And Bryant went 3 picks ahead of me. So I'm glad that I can at least get Rendon here. I love him on the buyback. I think this is a great spot for him. Plus, I've drafted a couple of questionable average guys, so Rendon is definitely going to help me there. My second pick is a little more difficult, because like Welsh said, there's a couple of relievers here, but there's a couple of starters that I like as well. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and pick up let me see if he comes back up. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up Chapman, and that way I have my good 1-2 punch of closers here. So Yeah, I like getting another closer here. They're starting to go. Welsh just took one. Ryan Presley went. So I think we're going to get a big block of them going in the next round or two. And because I'm on the wheel, I got to get them now.
Yeah, it's definitely the point for you to get them for sure. Anthony Rendon and Chapman to Bogman. Then after that, Alec Manoah, who was in my queue. Now he's not because he's on team 11. At 10:03, Ty France goes. Lance McCullers, another guy that I had circled. Sean Manaea at 10:05. Then Blake Trinan at 10:06. 10:07 is the Welsh.
Well, I got a couple guys that I'm looking at here, and this is making it very difficult. I got a hitter, I got a pitcher, but I'm very cognizant of where I'm at in this 10th round. After taking a closer, there's still some decent closers here, and they're starting to go. And I know Joey is probably looking at them too. I'm gonna get two solid closers. I don't like to overpay for them, and I think what at least this side on Fantasy Pros has showed us on the Draft Wizard is that we can get some deals. I do think come draft day, it's not going to be as easy. So I may not have this, but when I see Jordan Romano still out there, I'm going to take Jordan Romano, and I'm going to have Romano in Class A, which I think is a very, very good spot for a couple closers. And another one just went, no, I'm sorry. That was catcher Will Smith, not the closer version. So Joe, I leave you with the closer option if you want to dip your toe into
who's the best
Will
closer
Smiths
on the
or the
board?
unsigned Kenley Jansen's.
That was my question. Do you go with the unsigned Kenley Jansen, or do you go with Will Smith if you had to?
Ooh, I kind of. Well, I'd even look at maybe Gallegos, though. Gallegos, I think, is the high. He's right under Will Smith. 8% on your experts want Will Smith, so maybe there. But Gallegos is another guy that looks like he's going to be given the job. They might stretch Alex Reyes out, and the Cardinals are going to win games. But I don't know. I probably lean Will Smith, to be honest with you, because the amount of games that Atlanta's going to win.
Yeah, certainly something to consider. Instead, I won't consider a closer because it's me. It's Joey P, and I'm just going to stay on brand because I'll find a million of them later, and it's going to hurt my draft grade. But I'm not here to win the draft grade. I'm here to help people win their leagues. That's what I'm here for. You
Do
like
it, Joe.
I've been so give me a Reese Hoskins because I need a first baseman here. I need some pop. So go ahead there. Will Smith then, of course, goes with Sonny Gray in the next two picks. Shane McClanahan,
wanted Shane.
Goes next there, 101. Then Eugenio Suarez at 1102, which means Kenley Jansen made it back to me. So now I will take Kenley Jansen here. And that was the plan. And it actually worked for me for a change. Clayton Kershaw goes next. So Kershaw goes, Zach Gallen goes. Two really good upside pitchers there in the 11th round. Welsh, that's some good value if one of those guys works out.
Gallen. I want a Gallon. I 100% want a Gallon.
So Gallen over Kershaw, because I know in the past you've been that guy who's gone back to Kershaw, but now it's Gallen you would take over him.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kershaw's future is kind of uncertain right now, and he just continuously not being able to jump on into games and stay in 200 innings. I mean, that's not even in question anymore. I love Kershaw, and I would say pound for pound, the innings you get out of Kershaw, they're elite-ish. So you can make the arguments. It's like the Byron Buxton type of guy. It's like, or a Mondesi. If you get 100 of them and he gets all the stolen bases, like he's going to do great for you. But the question is how much. Gallen. Diamondbacks, it's not a great spot, but he's a quality starts monster. I really wanted him. So I'm going to pivot because the one guy that's still on my queue and I think is a crazy deal right now, it's pretty dumb, and he's going to give me roster flexibility, and I could put him at corner infield. I'm going to take Max Muncy. Muncy's 17% say I should go there. There's big power, and he works great into roster construction. So I'm very excited that he's still there.
No, I think that's an excellent pick. That Muncy has been very steady here, and I think that's
even though he's got some injury stuff though. That's the only thing though. There's a big question about his playing time for the year,
but it's also a big discount. 11th round for Muncy, who was a player you would see go in the 6th or 7th last year in drafts. I think that's pretty good.
I'm taking a risk though.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, we're in the 11th round. You got to take some risk. Ian Anderson, 1107. Ian Happ, 1108. Not someone named Ian at 1109. It's Pablo Lopez. Then Justin Turner, speaking of injuries, and then CJ Cron at 1111. So Bogman, make a wish here at 1112.
Yeah, I wanted Pablo pretty bad. So that is upsetting. But I know one of them is, I've taken some good batting average here, so I can take a risk on some crappy batting average and just so much thump Give me Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo. I was waiting for one of you two stooges to do it. I knew somebody was going to take Joey Gallo. I had him in the
it's just
queue.
40 homers, dude.
Might have been a better play for me with the Muncy injury. I think I got a little excited about Muncy being out there, and I was putting his injury a little bit of aside. But that's a serious one that could have some implications. Gallo might have been a better move for me too. So it's a good pick, Boggs. Muncy might have been a little bit of a mistake on mine.
Well, you're a lifelong Dodger fan, so no one's going to blame you for taking your guy.
This is where the draft gets ugly, boys and girls. This is where it gets ugly. So Bogman, Gallo's your one pick there at 11. You start the 12th round, and how are you starting it?
I'm going to start off with our boy, Joe, Eduardo Rodriguez. I know he's going to Detroit. Not the best spot to land in terms of wins, but I like what they're doing over there, and Eduardo's still a stud. So I'm going to go ahead and pick him up and add a starting pitcher here.
I think that's a terrific value there. You're right. He is in Detroit, but that's only going to make him cheaper. So why not give that an opportunity there? After Bogman makes his selections, the draft wizard does his thing. Dalton Varsho, then Garcia goes at 12-3, 12-4 is Conforto, then Tyler Mahle at 12-05, Yoan Moncada at 12-06, 12-07. You are now up, Welsh.
Man, this is killing me. Tyler Mahle was going to be the pick. One thing I don't like what I'm doing right now is I went really hard in the paint on my aces, and then I got some relievers, and I've just kind of like systematically through this been like, oh, my guy kind of went. I'll try to get this next guy in this next round, and I think that's a little bit of a mistake because I really would have loved like a Pablo Lopez to be like my third pitcher here. So now I'm going to go into a spot where I don't know if I'm going to absolutely love my third pitcher. I like some of these options just as a number 3. I don't know. I am going to, because Boz went and Mahle went. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at a couple, I don't know, old duddies here in Eovaldi and Bassett. And I think I'm going to pull the trigger on.
Shane Boz did not go yet.
No, he did, didn't he?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. Is he not in RP?
He just went away from my list. Maybe he didn't.
Perhaps he did, and I apologize.
I had him at the. Oh no, he went right after me. So I just whatever reason the list like made him disappear. So Boz I might have taken, but I like Eovaldi. I think they're in the same tier. So
all right, so Eovaldi, then Boz, then Rosario. It's back to me. So I do have that third starting pitcher. I do have Rogers as my 3. The question is, what do I want to do? And I want to have some fun. I want to have some strikeouts. I want Michael Kopech. Let's go. Let's do it.
Ooh.
I want to take some Michael Kopech there. Again, slight reach. I got the Debbie Downer emoji. Once again, there was 100% chance he makes it back to me. Draft Wizard.
Where are these emojis? I'm not seeing.
Bottom right-hand corner.
In the bottom right corner, every now and then, you either get a slight reach or you get a good pick, thumbs up.
I got a thumbs up for Eduardo Rodriguez. So
no, I didn't see them. I wonder what it thinks of.
All right. So after Michael Kopech, Trent Grisham goes, Dansby Swanson goes. Then Alex Verdugo starts the 13th round at 13:02. Jake Cronenworth at 01 is Verdugo, 13:02 is Cronenworth, which puts me back on the clock. And you know what? I mean, again, this is the mea culpa from last year. I'm going to go ahead and take Joey Votto here. And just stick Joey Votto for, a 270 average and 25 to 30 home runs and be boring and whatever. Speaking of boring, Michael Brantley, another one of my favorite boring players, 13:04. Josh Bell, 13:05. Welsh, you are on the clock.
Looking at a couple things here. What overall pick are we at? We're at 150, huh?
That's right.
Well, you got to take some.
The top suggested players on the board, Welsh, are Chris Bassett as the top lift. Then you have Adolis Garcia off that impressive power season. He's projected for 29 homers and 14 steals. Gallegos, who you talked about before. And then Scott Bogman's favorite player on the planet, Mark Melancon. It was the 5th there.
I'm going to go off board. Maybe this will give me a little thumbs downy here. But, this is a risk. I don't like buying players on their rookie year. I'm a little bit dicey on rookies that are awesome and you pay premiums in their sophomore year, but there's definitely something about high premium prospects that struggle in their first year that come at a cheaper cost. And this is the cheapest. This is pick 150. This guy's ADP is more than 2 rounds higher in NFBC drafts. I'm going to get my 4th outfielder and I'm going to pick up some Jared Kelenic.
Hey, why not? I mean, I think that's a terrific
I'm looking for a
selection there.
thumb or a
You have got
thing.
some you've got some boomer bust in this team here with
That's how I like
Yelich
to
and
do it
him for
sometimes.
sure.
Well,
I
that's
Is it,
know.
also, a
was it
big
just
point
a
of.
middle finger, Welsh? Is that the emoji you
Yeah, I don't
got?
know what it did. I didn't see which finger it was, but it probably wasn't a great one.
It's definitely a finger.
These are mock drafts. You should play around with this stuff. Like, I'm going to come out of this, and am I going to like love this hands down? No. Like Yelich, Springer, Buxton, Kelnick. Boy, do I have some volatility. The Muncy thing is kind of irking me a little bit. I do like my pitching staff up until I kind of I mean, this is why you do these experiments. And people that come on and be like, oh, I hate this pick or hate that. It's like, okay, good. I mean, this is the process. This is why this is
Right.
so great. You guys
Of
get to
course.
see us go through it. And I can tell you, like, oh, here's some stuff. I probably would want to mitigate a little bit of the injury risk. I have great batting average to go with a guy like Jared Kelnick that holds it back. But a little mistake I look at is like having an injured Muncy who could miss some time with a Kelnick. That's a little bit risky on the offense. You'd want to have a little bit more pitching. So I can recognize it, but I'm getting some great values, and that's what I'm liking about this.
You've done an excellent job also setting us all up and setting the standard for a nice C+ grade and explaining it away. So good job
Exactly.
by Welsh
Do
getting
we get
ahead of
do we get
that.
a report card after this?
Oh yeah, we get a report card. We get the stats. It's gonna be glorious. Wait till you see all the bells and whistles we got here on this
Let's
bad boy.
go.
Gurriel 1307, Chapman 1308. After that pick, then Kyle Hendricks at 1309, Trey Mancini at 1310, Chris Taylor 1311. Bogman, you are up at the 1314 turn.
Yeah, one of these picks I'm going to take Adolis Garcia. Once again, I've been pretty solid in my batting average, so I know he's a bit of a risk, and adding him with Gallo is a little questionable, but I have so much power on this team now with Ohtani, Garcia, Gallo, Alonso, and I have some guys to balance out my average here in Mookie and Polanco and Rendon and Witt. So I'm sitting okay there. And now I'm just going to take a boring pitcher to just keep adding these pitchers because Chris Bassett, I mean, the Wizards wanted me to take Chris Bassett for like the last 6 rounds. He is one of my favorite players too, but I just wanted to wait on him because he doesn't have the strikeout upside of some of these other guys. But I have strikeouts in Robbie Ray and Fried and Eduardo. So I'll go ahead and snap up Bassett here. So a risky pick on the hitting side and a safer pick on the pitching side here for me.
Now, looking ahead, I'm actually right now in the projections number 1 in runs. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about, right? Scoring runs. Isn't that what baseball is about at the end of the day? Kind of interesting.
Right.
I love this about
Where
the
is
Wizard
that?
too.
Yeah,
It's and you
up
go
at
to
the top.
categories. At the top, if you click on that, you can see where your projections are as you're doing the draft and actually tell you how far you are away in certain categories in terms of like, well, you're not very good here, or you are very good there.
How
Which
fun is that?
again,
Look at
Draft
that.
Wizard, super fun, and not just because of the different fingers it shows you. So Bogman takes Garcia and Bassett to tremendous values there at 13-14 turn. Brendan Rodgers goes at 14. Really good pick there by the Wizard. Then you have Anthony Rizzo. How the mighty have fallen there. Anthony Rizzo, a 14th round selection. My goodness. And then you've got Adam Duvall. You've got Avisail Garcia. So all the Garcias going here off the board. Kyle Schwarber, also a free agent for now. Marcus Stroman was your pick, Welsh, at 1407.
Love me some Marcus Stroman. Definitely one of my targets. There's some young pitchers out there. I've obviously been taking a whole lot of risk. If I'm going to take offensive risk, the thing I'd like to probably do is have a really hardcore, floored out pitching staff that obviously has upside. I've got the saves already. I add Stroman in, who I think is a great source of wins. I've got 2. I think he's a deep innings type of guy. Strikeouts aren't through the roof. But I'm going to probably have more boring pitchers where, could I have reached for a Logan Gilbert? Sophomore pitcher. I think I'm going to go boring on that side to make up for some of that inherent risk I've put into my offense.
Fair enough. Look who is still around, by the way. Giovanni Gallego. So I will go ahead and take him. After Stroman goes Austin Hayes, then Laureano. I will take Gallegos. And finally, I got a thumb. So that's a positive finger. Value pick. Experts
Like
rank Giovanni Gallegos at 151 overall.
He's got 2 thumbs and Giovanni Gallegos. Joe Pisapia.
Hey, as long as he keeps all his fingers intact throwing the baseball, we're good. Joe Adell, 1411. Remember Joe Adell? Remember? Willie Adams at 1412. Jorge Soler at 1501, starting the 15th round. Then Wilson Contreras, catcher, goes off the board, which goes back to me so I could continue to boost saves, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and take a player that I absolutely thought had a great year last year. I love the ballpark he's gone to, and it's Hunter Renfroe. No, not the wide receiver from the the Las Vegas
Raiders.
Raiders. No. It is the hitter. And back-to-back thumbs. So now I've got 2 thumbs
Look at all those
up
thumbs.
back-to-back from the Draft Wizard. My goodness. The Draft Wizard's happy with me. So Juan Soto, Mitch Haniger, Randy Rosarena, and Hunter Renfroe is my outfield. I got 1 outfield spot left, the 2 utilities, and the middle infield spot left. I've got 3 pitcher spots, and then we've got the bench. So after I took Renfroe, Torres goes of the Yankees. Gleyber Torres off the board. Gilbert just before the Welsh. So Welsh, you are up for 1506. Who's next?
Yeah, I mean, here's one thing I have definitely bombed out on was shortstop. This is a classic thing that happens with me, especially in early.
You actually said
I
those
do
words.
this, and you do these early drafts, and you kind of experiment with these type of things, and I'll tend to have like, oh, this is a spot I feel really good about, and then push comes to shove, I'm like, oh, well, everybody took all the guys, so I don't love all of them. There's a couple options out there, but I'm really not in love with a whole lot of anything that's out there right now.
This is the tough
But
part about deeper leagues.
this is what I am going to do. Again, I have a lot of roster flexibility, which is nice, especially according to, FantasyPros site here. I've already got 2 guys that qualify at third base. Manny Machado qualifies at shortstop in this, so I'm going to just play around. And I think this is just a great deal around 174. I'm going to buy back in and take Key Brian Hayes. So I can slot Key Brian. Yeah, I could slot Key Brian Hayes in wherever I want.
Thumbs up, right? That's got to be a value.
Oh, it did. Oh, there it is. Yeah, look
there
at that.
There it is. See, I know the
there
Wizard.
It is.
I know the Wizard. Mike Clevenger also looking for a bounce back, 1507. Then after Clevenger goes Yuli Gurriel, 1508. Craig Kimbrell at 1509. Dylan Carlson, 1510. Herman Marquez, I was contemplating for the strikeouts, but I just can't get past the Colorado part. I wish he would get traded finally, but who knows? Maybe this was the year. Bogman is up for the round 15, round 16 turn.
Man, I wanted Gurriel pretty bad, so that is upsetting that he went there. I'm gonna take at least one more starter here, and I can't decide between which one it's gonna be. All right, I'm gonna do this for one. Our boy John talked about Ranger Suarez.
God
so
dang, dude. I was like sitting here like I'm gonna get Ranger Suarez coming back.
So give me the Ranger Suarez 411 here. What are the boys saying about?
Well, we did an episode with John Legacy, MLB Moving Averages. Shout out to John. A couple weeks ago, if they want to check it on in this League Fantasy Baseball podcast, and he gave some really, really good underlining stuff. The big thing with Ranger Suarez was the sustainability, because he kind of popped out of nowhere, but it was the sustainability with a lot of his stuff and how he was controlling his pitches. And it's a buyback in, and at pick 180, it's just a really good deal on him with an insane second half that he had. And you guys can go check that out. But I was really hoping to get him because he would have been a great 5th pitcher to put into my rotation. But Boggs had to go be all annoying.
Boggs, you're up next year.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. I'm going to take a guy that is a little bit down the board here, but I know he's just going to help me with batting average as he improved last season, moving from Boston to Kansas City. Give me Andrew Benintendi at this point. So Benintendi is going to be my second guy. Help me out with the average because I have guys like Gallo and Garcia.
Did it give you a thumbs down when you did that?
Hasn't given me anything yet, but I will report back on my symbol. If
I want a full report on any and all emojis that you are given here at any given time. All right, let's go through the rest of the list here. After Benintendi goes to Bogman, Andrew Vaughn at 1602, Yasmani Grandal 1603, Ramil Tapia at 1604, then Gene Segura, Hyunjin Ryu, and the Welsh for 1607.
Well, Ranger was going to be the pick. I think there's some solid pitchers out there. I'm just not sure there's anybody that I love. I will point out that you've got only 2 RP spots. It just moved my Jordan Romano off of there. So we don't need more closers. But if you want to, shore up some ratios, I think last I looked, well, I guess I moved down a little bit. I was number 1 in projected whip on this, and it moved down a little bit. I got a couple guys I'm looking at. Guys, I just don't love a lot of these players. Can we go backwards? Guys?
All right. While you're thinking, and this is Boggs, you and I could talk about this while Welsh makes his pick here.
I've got my guys. You guys go ahead.
Do you feel like at this point in time too that, for the fun aspect of fantasy baseball, bringing that more into things, that we should maybe go to more utility spots, get away from the corner infield spots, maybe pare down pitching a little bit, maybe make rosters even in a 12-team league a little shorter, as opposed to, trying to run the table all the way into the ground and having to use all these utility guys and these spot starter guys or these specialists. What do you think?
Well, it really depends on how you want your league to work. Do you want the draft to be more important, or do you want to be pickups to be more important? For me, I kind of like the way we've done it. I like the CIMI. I like the 5 outfielders. I actually kind of like in my home leagues, I would adjust one less outfielder, one more utility. So I do 2 utilities and 4 outfielders instead to kind of give you one extra guy who could just be from anywhere. I think I'm okay with the structure for the most part.
All right, fair
Sounds
enough.
like you wanna update it though, Joe.
No, it's not that. It's not. I don't think it's necessary to always go with the standard, and that's something I'm
Okay.
just trying to get people to understand. Is if you're getting into a point where, like Welsh said, boy, this board gets gross after a while. Well, after 16 rounds, maybe you change the structure of how you play. Maybe a little bit. Maybe you don't go as deep in terms of what the active lineups are. And it's just again, it's a different thought process looking at. I'm going to look for a little starting pitching depth here. I'm going to go ahead with Tariq Skubal here and just get another starting pitcher.
It's about
So
time.
taking him off the board, I think
it's a good pick.
said slight reach. So once again, I'm back to Debbie Downer faces, but whatever.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, I
his
think that's
ECR is 178. You're picking 190, so you're
I
getting him
know.
a deal according to
I
ECR.
know. They don't care. The wizard doesn't like to be too supportive of me. Just enough.
Like Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, just like, get out of
Exactly.
here, kid. There you go.
Kiner Falefa goes after that. Then Casey Mize, Alec Bohm goes after that. Then we have Zach Plesac off the board, which now it's about how much risk do I want to take? That is the question. Oh my goodness. I kind of want to go more pitching here. There's something about the pitching situation where I feel like I can't get enough. It's a tough board here, as you're saying, Welsh. It's trying to figure that out. I think we're going to own another pick there where it's just power and speed. Give me Robbie Grossman. Let's see if he can have another 2020 season. Let's get this. All the Tigers on Joey P's team right now. Value pick, though. So now it's stroking my ego yet again. Jose Urquidy goes after that at 1704. Then Marcelo Zuna at 1705, which puts Welsh on the clock for 1706.
Boy, the pitching. There's words for the pitching.
Yeah, that's why I took Skubal. I was like, well, I could just go ahead and take him.
There's
Unless you're going to take a
definitely-
shot on somebody here.
There's words I would use for the pitching, but this is a family show. So I'm not going to. Yeah, I don't love where we're sitting at. I don't blame you for jumping in where you did. I'm trying to see, are there values? I mean, Urquidy was just, of course, someone I was taking a look at. And of course he went. Let me look here. Is there a search function for the pitchers? Where can I search?
Up top, search players.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Let's do this.
Bogman knows how to work the wizard. That's what
Apparently
it's all
I
about.
don't. This is
Go ahead.
this is
Welsh,
going to
this
look
game's
like
done.
a reach according to this, but right around the 200 spot, I'm going to go with Boston's Tanner Houck. So it's probably
Okay.
going to give me a thumbs
Okay.
down. It's reach alert. It said there's an 84% chance that he would have been available 2 rounds from now. Maybe so.
Whoa.
My
maybe so.
goodness.
But I didn't love any of the pitchers that were out there.
But you know what? Is there buyers or more? So you just want to get your guy, right?
No, I think at this point, I want to get my guy. Like, I think there's a couple really interesting names that have innings pitched concerns. Guys like Noah Syndergaard and Luis Severino. Aaron Savale is a major question mark. And I think there's just a bunch of old duddies that are out there. So if I'm going to take a young guy with upside to be in the rotation for the year with strikeouts, Tanner Houck has got some really, really good stuff. So I'm fine. I'm fine with that, getting my guy.
One of those names that you just mentioned too is going to hit. We'll just have to see which one. Miles Straw, then Jesus Aguilar. After that, Alex Wood goes, Mark Melancon goes, Kyle Lewis, and now Bogman up for the 17-18 turn.
I'm going to take Camilo Duvall for one of my picks. I think he might be an underrated closer. He's got great stuff. Giants could win a bunch of games again. I'm actually going to pair him with another Giant and take my starting shortstop here and go with Brandon Crawford because I need some batting average, and he is definitely going to help me in that category. So double tap some Giants here with Duvall and Brandon Crawford.
All right, so Duvall and Crawford go to Bogman. After that, Scope goes off the board at 1802. Then Steven Strasburg, 1803, which I got to say, I was going to pull the trigger here in 18th round. I was like, let's take a shot, see what happens. 1804 is Josh Donaldson, Mark Canha, who newly of the New York Mets now, 1805. Aaron Savali, 1806. Welsh, you are on the clock.
I thought 1806 was a new show on Paramount.
It is, but you know, it's one of those things. You know, you got to get the free trial, and then you got to do it for 30 days. You got to remember to cancel it. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, Bog.
It's got to get a good friend to get that login, right?
Yeah,
That's all you
yeah.
gotta do.
Welsh is like, I just gotta wait for a login from
Got any
Bogman.
more
That's what I need.
logins for
And
that
I do have the
Paramount
Paramount one.
Network?
So,
What do we got, Welsh, at 1807?
All right. I'm looking across the board here. I'm kind of in the same pitching front, and I think I'm going to go again off of the ECR, and it's probably not going to like it, but I'm going to go with another guy that I'm actually going to stay in the AL East, I suppose, with it. I'm going to go Jordan Montgomery. I think right at the 200 marker, strikeouts, wins. As far as the projections go, it wants me to pick up a little bit on the pitching side. And I think it gave me another reach marker on that. But you know what? If I'm going to take a reach, it's fine on the starting pitchers because, it doesn't want me to take Yusei Kikuchi. I'm okay. Steven Matz, I'm okay taking some of these younger guys that are primed for some strikeout breakouts.
All right, comes up to me next here, and these names on the board, we got Severino, Wainwright, Steven Matz, Syndergaard. Would you take a shot on any of these guys, Welsh?
Name them again?
Syndergaard, Adam Wainwright.
I've been looking at Syndergaard. I'm really dicey about him. I don't want to pay big prices on him, but now that we're in the 200s, I mean, to be fair, like if he were to fall back, I probably would take him coming back.
Yeah, well,
that would be a guy I would take a shot at.
He was the top of mine too, and I love these guys on the 1 year show me deal. So I'm gonna take a shot on Syndergaard here because I mean they're desperate for pitching. And again, slight reach alert. Once again, the Debbie Downer does not like me. Dustin May, another guy too, an interesting pick here at 1811. And then Severino goes 1812. Adam Wainwright, who was also considering at 1901. Kenta Maeda goes next. Now it is to me. So then it becomes a little bit of the closer game and looking at picking up some. So Taylor Rogers in Minnesota out there. Gregory Soto is out there. I know it's just so difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and just go with Rogers and take the top guy on the board and try to bolster saves a little bit because I am a little behind there. So again, I don't love these two picks. Just trying to play the board. Solak goes next, then Nate Lowe after that at 1905. The Welsh is up for 1906.
I like that. I probably would have taken Rogers if you hadn't.
If I didn't, okay.
Yeah,
that makes me feel even better about taking him because I know I was doing something right.
I'm going to go with this one. He's not. FantasyPros isn't giving him a big projection as far as saves go. I think Bogman and I are going to be fighting over him a lot. I think he's going to be really good for my ratios, and I really do think he's going to lock the job down, and I know it's going to hate it. I'm going to take Garrett Whitlock. Yeah. Garrett Whitlock at 222, I think, is where I said there's 100% reach that he could have got him in a couple rounds. Yeah, I think in the 200s, guys,
man. Get your guys.
But the 200s is where that's where he's going. That is the general overall range of him. Especially if you look at any of the data's out there. He is, I guess he's 260 on NFBC data, but I think it's just questionable as far as what he is as a closer right now. So
no, that's understandable. So after you take Whitlock, then Luke Voigt goes next. Karinchak goes after Scott Barlow at 1909, then 1910, Colton Wong, Joey Wendell, man for all seasons. I love Joey Wendell at 1911. That puts Bogman up for 1912 and 2001, Boggs.
I mean, if I look at these categories, I'm first in homers, third in runs, third in RBI, first in stolen bases, 12th in average. So that's not great. But I need
you made some
pitching.
sacrifices.
I have, but I think I'm better than 12th in pitching. So we'll see. I'm actually tied for the bottom with a couple people, but so I might not be dead last, but I got to get some pitching here. So I'm going to take some upside, like Welsh said. That's just where we're at this point. So I'm going to take Tristan McKenzie for one, and then I'm going to back him up with Patrick Sandoval as my second
there you
pick
go.
Here. So
McKenzie and Sandoval there. So very nice
strikeouts, hopefully some wins. That's what we want.
So Wendell goes, then McKenzie and Bogman go ahead. Bogman, did you pick your second player yet?
Yeah, it's
thinking.
Yeah, it's thinking for a second here. So let me just.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure you get your guys. I don't want to, walk away here saying I wasn't able to get the guys that I wanted on your team. So
I got a thumbs up. I got a thumbs up from Tristan McKenzie.
Oh, loves your picks. Oh, Wizard. Ooh, Wizard loves Bogman. Ooh, look at me. I'm the Wizard. I love Bogman's picks. Everything he does.
Here
amazing.
We go. Sandoval gone. Then Tommy Pham goes after that. After him, we have Lucas Sims at 2003, Desclafani at 2004, Ahmad Rosario at 2005. You say Kikuchi 2006. What do you say, Chris Welsh, at 1207? 2007, I should say.
I say, when you're looking at the categories, it's interesting because I'm kind of all over the board. It loves me in runs and homers. I'm second in runs, third in homers. I'm 6th in RBIs, 7th in stolen bases, and I'm higher than either one of you in batting average right now. So I'm within grasp on offense. My pitching, the 2 low categories, interestingly enough, are wins and Ks, but I'm top 5 in saves, whips, and whip and ERA, which I think is a good spot. But I look at the whole I have offensively. I've got to look at this pick is going to be hilarious because I need more outfield, and the
Oh my
projections
goodness.
are
Is
very
it AJ Pollock?
it is AJ Pollock. That's
Oh,
exactly right.
no.
What are
Stolen
you
bases,
doing?
power. It says it's a steal. They gave me they clapped their hands for me.
Seriously,
FantasyPros did.
how many IL spots do we have? Because you have Buxton and you have Pollock, and who was the other guy? Don't you have another injury prone guy? Yelich. I
Springer.
mean,
Well,
Springer.
get ready for more
Well, why
gross.
Steven
It's coming
Strasburg's
at
still
you.
on the board, Welsh?
No, he's
so-
gone. He's long gone. Otherwise,
Is he
I would have
really
taken him.
gone?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Strasburg's gone.
Are you
Nick-
sure?
I'm 100% sure he's gone. Go back and look. Nicky Lopez, Will Myers go next before me at 2010. I'm going to go ahead and take the top lift here and Miguel Sano and just plug away some more power.
No.
Got some
Lifty
good batting
lift.
average. So, yeah, he's heavy to lift too. He is not light. That is not
He's
an
not
easy
small
lift.
cotton.
No, he's not small. Anthony Santander goes at 2011. Charlie Blackmon at 2012. Remember when Charlie Blackmon was good? I got a thumbs up, by the way, on the Miguel Sano pick, so I appreciate that. Luis Urias goes 2101. Then Candelario at 2102, which puts me back on the board here. Some of the names out there: Bobby Dahlback, Eduardo Escobar, Eric Hosmer, some really boring guys there at first base. Second base, I still need a middle infielder. Is there any reason to buy back into Kevin Biggio here?
No.
I
wouldn't. I'm just not interested. The guy that I think is an absolute freaking steal is Luis Urias, who just went 2 picks away. Yeah. That would have been the guy. I was thinking about him for a while. I'm not a buyback into Biggio, to be honest with you. He's just he's a super patient hitter. He's going to keep the bat on his shoulder to get walks, but I don't know if he's ever going to be more than, a 230, 240 guy with, probably a 380 OBP. That's just who he's going to be.
I went safe with another starting pitcher. Well, pretty safe. He had a great first half, second half, not so much. So hopefully Taijuan Walker can build a little stamina because 2020 was a shortened season. So I don't think he was really prepared for 2021. I'm hoping that in 2022, he's able to build on that first half and what he did in 2020. It's just a stamina issue, I think, more than anything with Walker. Gio Urshela goes next at 2104. Then in 2105, Brad Hand. Chris Welsh, 2106. Who makes the roster for you?
Got a couple options. I don't think the system's going to really like any of them, is going to be my guess. But you know what? We actually talked about him. I'm going to slide him over into the DH spot. I'm going to take Bobby Dahlback.
Bobby Dahlback.
Oh, it liked it. It gave me 3 clap emojis, as a matter of fact. Not going to do good for my batting average, though.
No. Well, I gotta say, the Miguel Sano pick definitely knocked me down a couple. But we're still ahead of Bogman, you and I, in batting average.
That's all that matters, actually.
But still ahead there. All right, let's move on here to the next couple picks on the rosters as we go through here. Once again, we are getting into the 20s now, so it's getting real, as the kids like to say. So as soon as it loads back up for me here, let's see: Taijuan Walker, Urshela, Hand, Bobby Dahlback, then Max Kepler goes 2107. Azole goes after that. Another interesting here. There's Gavin Biggio at 2109. Carlos Carrasco 2110. Another fascinating late round selection, right? If he's good,
that's a good one.
That's one that if I had to do back, I might have taken Carrasco over.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would have
thrown that out there.
Jumped
Chris Paddock 2111, and then Bogman, you are on the clock for 21 and the beginning of 22.
Brandon Belt, 1 pick for me. Like you said, I am pretty low in batting average, and I think Mr. Giraffe Neck can help there. Don't like all these Giants I'm taking. I'm probably taking too many Giants,
a lot of Giants,
which is upsetting, of course, being a Diamondbacks fan, but there's no Diamondbacks to take. So, and then I'm going to continue to add to this starting pitcher spot and add Huascar Ynoa, who hopefully will not punch anything and stay healthy for this whole year, and I won't have to
100% my pick. 100%.
I almost took him last time, and I went, it's going to definitely give me the middle finger if I take him here. Let me see if he falls all the way back. And he did. So there we go.
Yeah, hopefully he'll just be punching out batters instead of water coolers this year.
I hope he punches Bogman.
Brady Singer goes at
Ooh.
22:02, then Gregory Soto 03, then the 22nd round after that, Jeff McNeil, Jamison Tyon, and then Garrett Hampson at 22:06, which puts Welsh back on the clock for 22:07.
Well, this is going to be one. Well, I'm looking at this one. Which side
Actually,
do I
so
wanna
it
go?
told me reach alert on Yanoa, and it says there was a 75% chance. It doesn't know there was a 0% chance
There's a
because Welsh was
0%
definitely
chance.
going to
It
take
didn't
him.
know. I am going to go and jump in on a boring player who qualifies at multiple spots. Pretty good projections on him. I'm gonna go with Kike Hernandez.
Nice pick there.
I wanted to say the one guy I was thinking about taking, and it loved that pick, by the way, was Josh Rojas. I actually think there's a Diamondback you can take, Josh Rojas, who's going to
you
get
can
some
take
stolen
Rojas here.
bases.
Yeah.
It's just my problem with him versus Kike still being out there is that Kike's probably going to beat him in at least 3 categories, and it's just not enough. Like Rojas is going to have probably 60 runs and 50 RBIs with how the Diamondbacks team is. So I just don't love him enough to reach on him. Joe Ryan, great pick that went after, and then O'Neill Cruz. And now you're up, Joey.
I am up, and this is another tricky one here. So it's telling me the top lift is Eric Hosmer, but I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to give myself more position flexibility. I'm going to go ahead and take Eduardo Escobar instead.
I love that pick. I had him on my queue.
Because once again, kind of like last year when the Mets took Jonathan VR, gave me the slight reach, but that's okay. But to me, he's just going to get a lot of playing time. I just don't see how he doesn't on that team. Hector Neris goes after that. Brendan Nimmo after. Travis d'Arnaud, who I was contemplating, then Zach Greinke, and then back to me again. Oh, my goodness. Here's an interesting one, too. Some cheap steals late here. Akil Baddoo is kind of interesting to me. I can't believe I've got so many Detroit Tigers, but value is value. I'm going to go ahead and take my boy Akil Baddoo. And I got 3 claps, 1, 2, 3, for the steal of Akil Baddoo. And I'm happy about that. I like that. A little late stolen base action for you and some runs scored from Akil. I like him. He's a fun player to watch. After that, we get Tony Gonsolin goes and Steven Matz goes. Trying to keep up. The picks are so fast and furious.
We're
now.
at the end. We're at the end.
I know. So Steven Matz went, and then Welsh. Who did you take here with your?
I took
pick?
John Gray. John Gray
Great selection there,
getting
right?
getting out of Colorado is a huge deal. A lot of people. It's funny.
Pick.
People they suppress Simeon and Seager going into Texas New Park, but I don't think there's a lot of talk about what advantage the pitchers might take. And John Gray is a really great pitcher getting out of Colorado, even though he actually pitched better in Colorado than on the road. Funny enough, I like the John Gray pick. It's I think I don't even know they might have given me. They should have given me some clappy emojis. If they didn't, I would like the dev team to get on that right now.
Come on,
because
devs.
you should get claps when John Gray goes post 250.
Avoid the claps, Jimmy Dugan. Tyler Stevenson
That's
up next.
Good advice.
Then Keibert Ruiz, Carson Kelly, Christian Javier, one of my guys that I had circled on my team. Tyler Glass now 23-11. Then Bogman end 23 and begin 24 for us.
Well, we have this C position. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but
I believe it's catcher, I've been told.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Never
I haven't
heard
been
of her.
suggested anything about it, but Christian Vasquez, decent average. That is basically all I'm looking for.
That's my dude
right now.
That's my dude, Boggs at catcher. Everybody knows I love Christian Vasquez. He's just consistent.
Well, I kind of wanted Keibert Ruiz. I haven't thought about a catcher at all this whole time. None of them have been suggested to me, so I thought, maybe I'll go ahead and grab Keibert Ruiz here. And if not, Stevenson, because I'm 5 picks away or whatever, and they both went, which is just frustrating. So I'll settle on Vasquez just to get that pick out of the way here. And now I think I'm going to take another starting pitcher, but I'm trying to get to it, and it's just taking a second to think. So
that's okay. Sometimes it takes a second or two to think. Sometimes even the draft wizard gets tired sometimes we go through. But you're right. This is the single catcher format we're playing. And, if you're playing in a single catcher format, 12 teams, I mean, you just got to find somebody out there that you can handle for, 12 deep. That's it. It doesn't have to be rocket science here. All right, Boggs, did you find your other player here?
It's not rocket surgery, Joe. Yeah, I'm going to take Dane Dunning. Top of the list here. Suggested. I need some dubs, decent strikeouts as well. So I'll go ahead and snap up Dunning here.
All right, so Dane Dunning goes, then Martinez, Bader, Torkelson, Nick Senzel, and then Sean Murphy after. Welsh, you are up next.
Yeah, that is me.
This is what happens when you get round 24. You start to lose your mind a little bit.
You forget who the people are, where we are. What
are we 26 rounds here, Joe? 27?
We have to fill out these last remaining bench spots here. So just looking through, I know I still have a catcher spot left to go, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bench spots here. So we'll hammer these out quick. I guarantee. And I see Rojas went off the board.
Yeah,
and it went to Welsh. Very nice.
I got 2-round discount on Rojas. Probably one of the best position players that are still out there. Ooh, there's that guy too. And I get, stolen bases, versatility. I've got tons of versatility. And hey, I would point this out as well as a strategy. If you're obviously people are going to look at mine and you're going to see risk. Like there's no doubt about it. But here's a great thing to do if you take on risk: position eligibility, flexibility, guys that can move around. And that's something my roster has done.
That was why I wanted Escobar so bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good notch. Who did you take there?
I took Mike Yastrzemski at 24.10, and then Peterson Navarez goes then back to Gavin Lux at 25.01. Interesting pick there. That could be very beneficial. Alex Reyes at 25.02. Ooh, is getting sassy now. I'm going to take a shot on catcher. I'm going to go ahead with Adley Rutschman and hope for the best, and I'll take some other, slap nut catcher off the waiver wire eventually. But let's see with Adley Rutschman, see if he can break camp here and be the guy. We shall find out.
If he breaks camp, it'll be a steal.
It will. But I mean, look, in a single catcher league, I'll take the chance even if he doesn't. I just gotta, figure it out for a few months, and if he comes up and he plays well, then that's a win. Eric Hosmer, Alejandro Kirk go next. Welsh, you're back up on the clock. I see some good value actually still on this board now that I'm seeing.
There's definitely some decent value. I've got a guy I'm going to see if he can pop back to me in a little bit. I do feel like I need to get back on the pitching front because we're on the bench side. I did put John Gray.
We have 4 rounds left to go here. 4 more players, and then we can finally evaluate ourselves.
This one's always tricky because of how this team manages themselves. But Drew Rasmussen, right around 300, I think is a solid spot, especially if he stretches out more, being put, in a spot to get more wins. Even though it said Reach City, fantasy.
Reach City, baby. Reach City for Welsh. Let's see what's in store for Bogman here with his next pick. Boggs, where are you going here with your next 2?
Give me 1 second here, guys. This is freezing up for me.
That's okay. It's I'll recap the ones that have just gone. So Rasmussen, then Flexen, Gary Sanchez, Mitch Garver. Here's your catcher rung, Paul DeYoung, and then Sanchez from Miami.
Jesus Sanchez was the guy I was when I just said, "Hey, I'm hoping something comes back to me."
Yeah,
that was the piece. That was the guy that
I
was hoping would come back, but he did.
Absolute top of my queue was Jesus.
All right, Boggs, you are up now for the end of 25, beginning of 26.
All right, I'm gonna go with a couple pitchers here. I'm gonna throw a dart on Josiah Gray
I like that.
at this point, and I'm gonna go back to my Marlins guy here and take Eliezer Hernandez.
All right,
how do we say? Is it Eliezer? Eliezer. Excuse me.
You're all wrong.
Yeah, all the way wrong. Yeah, none of the ways you said it, Bogman. That's how you said it.
All right, Boggs, did you make
Hernandez,
that second pick? It's not showing up for me quite yet.
Yeah, it hasn't let me take it yet. So
that's okay. It's it's a marathon here, ladies and gentlemen, not a sprint. Let's continue on here with the next of the picks. Welsh, who are you looking at and targeting here as it makes it back to you?
Man, I might have the most unpopular pick I could ever make.
Corey
and
Kluber?
I'm tempted.
Don't do it.
I'm tempted to not do it.
Don't do it.
I think
Don't
it might.
do it.
Do it. Do it.
Don't do it. It
I'm
creeped in
chaos.
my mind for a second, and I just couldn't do it.
Good, Welsh, do it.
I think I did it. Did I click it?
Did you do it?
Did
you click it? I don't know. It hasn't shown up yet. You got to tell me. Oh my goodness. It's Trevor Bauer.
I think
Trevor
he's going to play this year. I think he's going to play.
Draft right there. That's an interesting strategy. I mean, look,
that would be the steal of the draft if
he's cut bait there. I mean, if he doesn't, right, at any given time, you didn't make.
We're at pick. Hey, listen, we're at pick 300. Before all of his nonsense, I've never liked a lot of the attitude stuff. I've never been a fan.
We have constantly made fun of him.
Openly not been a fan. And then obviously there's a lot of legal stuff going on, but he jumped back into the public eye, which I think tells you a whole lot of what's going on as far as it is. And it has a decent chance to get cleared up, and it's past 300 and it's gross. I'm going to take a shower as soon. Can we finish this? Cause I didn't even take a shower.
All right. I took Adam Frazier, now of the Seattle Mariners, just some bench depth there. That's it. Not thinking anywhere really past that. And I'll take a little James Kaprielian as well, which is my top
Kaprielian.
suggested player there. So after Diego Castillo and Eflin, then Kaprielian, then Kyle Gibson, Wade, and Welsh. We're closing things up here, Welsh. Let's rock these bad boys out.
Yeah, we are trying to. The system's it's a little bit slow right now. It's bogged down, if you will take that.
What's that
By the
supposed
way,
to mean?
no offense to you, Scott, on that phrase.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
yeah. I'm taking offense on that.
Yeah.
No actual bog offense that is being put out there as I'm looking through. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go with a prospect. Little plug over on inthisleague.com is our Patreon. I've got all my ranks that are there. And one of the things I've added to my ranks this year are some of the top prospects to look for in redraft this year. And this is one of those guys post 300 that I'm going to take a stab on. Pretty good projections you guys have on him. Well, it's Josh Young. And I was just talking about Nate Lowe and how I don't think he's guaranteed anything what's going on. And Josh Young is a huge batting average guy with power. And in 369 at-bats on FantasyPros, they project him at 17 homers. Imagine if there's no roster manipulation and he played a full season, you could potentially see a 30 home run season in a prospect. Post 300, easy, because like you said, like that Yucky Bauer pick, these are all guys that you could cut bait on and move on to the next guy.
Bobby Bradley also goes in this round. Another notable name, Dominic Smith, Bristol Gratterall. Bogman, you're up for your last two picks.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and take Pavin Smith for one. Oh, God, he went. Of course he went.
Yes, he went
did
4
go.
picks
he went
ago.
In this round, 4 picks ago, Pavin Smith. Sorry, that's the one guy I didn't mention there. And it's the one guy you wanted. Of course, it's always that way. Actually, you have 3 picks left, I believe.
I'm just a little bit behind here. So Kutch for one, because I need another outfielder. And so I'll buy back on Kutch a little bit. Then I will go with a guy just with multiple position eligibility and give me Hunter Dozier. I'll just take some power here.
Another good one there. Hunter Dozier, McCutcheon, 2 veterans. Bogman makes his selections here. Welsh, who are you going to take next?
Well, I might cheat the system a little bit here, but why not if there are actual closers that I'm not up yet. The system hasn't gone to it. If there's actual guys that can get saves, why would you not take a look at them? Again, I do not think this will actually happen. I don't think guys like Paul Sewald are going to be out there, or Andrew Kittredge or anything like that. But I see Joe Barlow out here, and he's scheduled to be the Texas Rangers closer. So as soon as it lets me, I will just jump on and take Barlow. And then I'm going to take my catcher with my last pick, and I know exactly who it's going to be.
All right, so tease us a little bit as we're waiting here for things to catch up with who your catcher is.
Well, I don't like the catcher position in general. I mean, obviously, if I can not pay for the top guy and I can get somewhere in the middle, I would have. That escaped me. I don't think there's a lot of great options out there, but projections are very nice on him, and he's one of the really good few framers that are out there as well, and it's Max Stasey. I'll just say it. Hopefully you don't take him. Max Stasey is a guy that I'm going to take a look at with 15 homer projection on here versus guys like Joey Bart, James McCann.
Boggs,
did
that second pick ever go through for you? Because I see
it just went through.
Just went. There it goes. Dozier, Robles. I see now Cal Quantrill. And then now it's flying through here. We have Tyler Naquin, Evan Longoria. Welsh, go ahead. You can make your selection now.
Yeah, as soon as it lets me. All right, I clicked on it. We'll see if it goes. I'm taking Joe Barlow with those saves, which will probably be very nice to my my in projection, or at least help out a little bit.
You know, there's a part of me I can't get enough of wondering why the Tampa Bay Rays took Corey Kluber on. I can't get around it. I want to, I don't know. I'm just going to take another pitcher here just for depth. So I'll take Bumgarner here. Be boring, whatever. Just take another guy off the top of the list here. And there's another pitcher here that's slightly intriguing to me just to have on the roster. Do I want to go old with Corey Kluber? Do I want to go take a shot on a guy like Sixto Sanchez? I don't know. You know,
after the video of Sixto and his little throwing, I would go with Corey Kluber right now.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. And the Kluber thing, the funny thing, Welsh, is that once again, I feel like every year I'm like, okay, I'm out on Corey Kluber. And then there's always something. Well, it was the Yankees last year. I was like, well, I'm kind of intrigued because it's the Yankees and
Me too.
They signed him right away. And now this year it's the Rays, and the Rays always seem to know. Like the Rays are always the team that seems to have it. So those are my last two selections there. Welsh, you went ahead and took Max Stassi, right? So Stassi is your pick here, a catcher.
Stassi, yep.
Talk us through that.
Yeah, just like I said before, good framers should stay out there. 15 homers projection. I mean, he's got some pop in there. He's just one of those guys. I think, I think it might have been on our friend Ryan Bloomfield. I could be mixing who it was, But as far as like
And
pitchers
Boggs,
that
make your
maintain,
last pick. Go ahead, since I know
Yeah,
this is the last.
well, it's I got it here. I know
Mhm.
it'll be,
but just
but
guys who maintain like a WRC plus with solid frame rates and stuff like that. That's a guy like Max Stacy. So he's just a good sleeper back end catcher that you guys should all take a look at. Hey,
All right.
what?
So the draft is done. Oh,
you
Joey
talk about
P
grade.
got an A minus, 90 out of 100. Welsh, what's your grade?
A minus, 92 out of
Oh,
100.
no, I've lost to the Welsh. I'm an
Yes.
embarrassment to myself
What
and
about
others.
Boggs?
Despite all those reaches, you still bested me. Boggs, tell me you've got a 94.
it's not telling me yet.
Okay.
It's on. I'm on the struggle bus here. So let me see.
Well, I looked at the overall projections, and it is pretty fascinating, and it's actually
Oh
a
my
little
goodness, I
disappointing.
see it right now. Actually, this is astounding. So, Boggs, I'm going to spoil it for you. Scott Bogman won this draft.
Oh,
Ranked
wow.
number 1.
Unbelievable.
Number 2, Christopher Welsh, and number 3, this moron, Joey P. So look at that. The three of us beat the bots. I've been doing this. Dan Harris and I did, I don't know, a dozen of these last year. I have never seen the 3 people on finish 1, 2, 3.
Really?
So, gentlemen, kudos.
Wow.
Well done.
Hey, we did it.
Very
We did it.
impressive.
Some good
Very
stuff.
impressive.
Yeah, Joe, you finished the tops of any of us in hitters at 3. Bogman was 6. I was 7. Bogman finished with the top pitcher front. I was number 3, and Joe was 7. That is pretty incredible. All 3 of us beating the robots. Hey, guess what? We won. We don't need whatever Connor, whatever it is. We beat Skynet. They're down. They're
right,
done. We win.
Welsh, take us through your roster real quick. It's Stassi, it's Vlad Guerrero Jr., India at second. Then you have Machado, Max Muncy, Ryan McMahon was a great pickup where you got him. I thought very good selection there. Rojas, Cabrian Hayes, your boy Byron Buxton, George Springer, Christian Yelich, Kellenic, AJ Pollock. Then he's got Bobby Dahlback for closing things out in the other utility spot. Max Scherzer starts the rotation. Jack Flaherty, Clase, Eovaldi, Romano, Stroman, Whitlock, Houck, Jordan Montgomery, Kiki Hernandez, John Gray, Trevor Bauer, Rasmussen, Barlow, and Josh Young. Love the Young pick at the end. So how do you feel now that you've seen that roster in front of you, Welsh?
Yeah, I mean, I feel solid about it. There's definitely changes. Like I said, I keep having this moment with Max Muncy where I see him and I get excited, and then I forget, like, oh yeah, he had like a major surgery, and that's, could potentially affect playing time. I probably would have pushed maybe that off. And listen, I always do this. I've got a lot of risk in here, but I like to do different drafts with risk, some without. I maybe would have subdued it a little bit, but I thought in this kind of platform here of 12 team, and we're kind of going up against robots, like I could mask some of it. And guess what? I did. I mean, Kiki Hernandez is a guy that you can throw out. I built a lot of depth. You also, like you had said, we actually had like an extra position that was thrown out there. I've got a lot of flexibility with guys. I made stolen bases work. I'm pretty happy with it. Definitely changes that could happen. But at the end of the day, if I was rolling this out with guys like Vlad and, that outfield that I have, I'll take a risk on that outfield. So yeah, A minus is probably being a little bit fair. If I were grading this personally, probably like a B plus. I'm really pissed about how I treated my starting pitchers later. I should have gotten a third one earlier. That was a mistake.
It's the nature of the position though, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Scott Bogman, Christian Vasquez is catcher, then Pete Alonso at first, Mookie Betts, Jorge Polanco, Anthony Rendon. Boy, if Rendon bounces back, what a win that is. Brandon Belt, Whit Merrifield, Brandon Crawford, Joey Gallo, Adolis Garcia, Andrew Benintendi, Andrew McCutcheon, Hunter Dozier, Shohei Ohtani. And then you've got Robbie Ray, Max Fried, Liam Hendricks, Aroldis Chapman, Eduardo Rodriguez, Chris Bassett, Doval, McKenzie, Suarez, Yanoa, Dunning, Patrick Sandoval, Josiah Gray, Hernandez, and McGill. So Boggs stepping back from that first-ranked roster. You got to feel pretty good about this.
Yeah, I do. I do feel pretty solid about this. I really like my hitting. It's not a perfect build because I had to, I took some power with some average issues, and then I had to take some average with a little bit of emptier things on the back end. So it's not a perfect build, but I do like the way it's built. Obviously, everyone has to deal with injuries, so we'll see how those would affect me. But I was able to get 3 good closers as well. I like the top end of my pitching. The back end is a little dart throwy, and I understand that with guys like McKenzie and Dunning and Sandoval and Josiah Gray and Hernandez. So it's a little dart throwy on the end in terms of starting pitching, but I think most starting pitching at the end is going to be dart throw anyway. So that's kind of how I'm going to probably build most of my rosters this season. So I like the way this turned out. Surprised I was number 1 in projections because I'm still dead last in average. I'm 12 out of 12.
Well,
but
there you go. You could
I'm
still
top
punt one
5
thing.
in everything else. So.
Still punting
that.
one thing and being great. That's the Scott Bogman strategy. So good. For me, it's Adley Rutschman at catcher. We'll see what happens with that position as things unfold. Reese Hoskins, Tommy Edman, Wander Franco, Nolan Arenado, Joey Votto, Eduardo Escobar, Miguel Sano, Juan Soto, Randy Rosarena, Mitch Haniger, Hunter Renfroe, Robbie Grossman, Akil Baddoo, then Julio Urias, Alcantara, Jensen, Gallegos, Trevor Rogers, Michael Kopech, Therese Skubal, Taylor Rogers, Steve Rogers, all the Rogers, Taijuan Walker, Aaron Rodgers, Noah Syndergaard, Mike Yastrzemski, Adam Frazier, Bumgarner, Caprillion, and Kluber. And you know what? Like, I would go to war with this. I know the back end of those pitchers of the bench is going to be fluctuation there, but
that's
really,
for everybody's team.
Yeah, it is, like you said. But I really love the veteran presence here on this team, and I mean the guys that I feel like I know what I'm getting out of them. There's not a whole lot of volatility.
Leaders, a lot of
clubhouse leaders,
right?
Stand-up guys, all of that. Now, of course, if you got opinions about these picks and who do you think won this draft, make a comment on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB channel. Again, this is a separate channel we've got going. So if you want to watch the draft live, go to youtube.com/FantasyPros MLB. Subscribe to our MLB channel. We'll be doing leading off every single day when the season starts, by the way, too. A daily baseball podcast covering everything in fantasy. We'll talk a little DFS, a little wagering too. Who knows what unfolds there, but we want you to be a part of it. We started it last year, and it is tremendous. So please go subscribe today. Also, don't forget to start running some of these on your own. Get out there and start drafting. The 2022 MLB Draft Wizard is officially open right now for business at fantasypros.com/draftwizard, and start getting prepared for your fantasy baseball season. I want to thank my good friends Bogman and Welsh for helping me out today with our first mock of the year. We hope you enjoyed it. It was comprehensive. It was amazing. And what a finish, I must say. 1, 2, 3. I'll take the bronze next to these two studs. I will take it. I'm just happy to be on the award platform next to them in the medal round as we enter the Winter Olympics here. But we're talking about summer. We're talking about baseball. So once again, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your pods. We hope you enjoyed today. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Bogman and Welsh, I'm Joey P.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our featured videos. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Fantasy Pros, so you can get the latest news and updates to give you the edge you need in your fantasy league.